Hey, it's Jack. So, the goal of today's video is to really break down how to cold call like a ninja. For anyone who's new to my channel, my name is Jack Middleton, and for the last few years, I've spent time in the trenches working as a sales professional for some of the world's leading companies. And during that time, I've generated over $5 million in sales, worked for some of the world's top companies, including 2 years at Google, where I was consistently one of the top reps on the team. My goal with these videos is to really share the hard won lessons that I learned so that you can apply them in your own sales career or business to make more money. So, without further ado, let's jump into today's video. So, the number one thing that I've learned over the years from cold calling is really this concept of tonality. Okay? Let's get some more. As a cold calling sales rep, biggest thing that you want to do is you want to disarm your prospect. ABD, always be disarming. And this is where I see a lot of sales reps go wrong because I made the mistake personally when I was first starting out. Is you go into the sales call or the cold call too enthusiastically, too excited, too assumptive, and you have to keep in mind that when you're cold calling businesses, they get spammed with cold calls day in, day out. And if you sound like everybody else, you're going to get the same results as everybody else. And the tonality that I've found that works best is the confused neutral tonality. Okay? And the reason this works so well is because it works with the way we are wired as humans. So it works with human behavior instead of against it, right? Because the biggest thing that you want to do whenever you're doing a cold call is generate curiosity. It's the same thing in advertising. You have that first 3 seconds called a hook, where you hook the viewer in. It's the same idea with cold calling, where you want to hook the prospect in to see what's going on, you know? And a good example that I can give for this as well is it's human nature to want to help someone who's confused or lost. If you met someone in the street and they're like, maybe a tourist in your country, and they're like, sorry, can you just help me out for a moment? I'm just not sure where I'm going. It's human nature to want to lean in and help that person. So we want to leverage this in our cold calls to stimulate engagement and generate those conversations, and ultimately, you know, make more sales and close more deals. So without further ado, let's jump into the first generic example. Okay. Let's see if we can. Let's move this down. So we're going to start off very simply. Hey, is this Bob? Hey, Bob, it's just Jack from Consu. And I was wondering if you could maybe just help me out for a moment. So if we kind of rewind what I've done there, is if you pay attention to the tonality, it's almost like that lost tourist tonality. It's hey, is this Bob? Hey, Bob, it's just Jack from Consu. I was wondering if you could just help me out for a moment. If you could maybe help me out for a moment. Whatever way you want to say it, it's all about acting like you're a lost tourist and asking if they could help you out for a moment. Because again, it's human nature to lean in when there's curiosity being generated, and it's human nature to want to help someone whenever they're lost. Yeah, I'm not sure if you're the right person I should even be talking to, but I called to see who would be responsible in your company for looking at any possible hidden gaps in your blank that could be causing your company to blank? So if we see what this part of the script is doing, it's really zoning in and trying to identify who is the key decision maker in the company that you're contacting, who takes care of the problem that you have a solution to. And you can see here responsible. That's really where we're trying to pinpoint who is responsible. And then possible hidden gaps. So again, we're using neutral language. We're not being assumptive. Remember, telling is not selling. And we're then going through and ending it with a consequence statement. Because again, humans are wired to move away from pain and towards pleasure. So nobody wants consequences. So yeah, like who should I even be talking to about that? At this point, they're either going to say, "Oh yeah, that's me," or they're going to be a gatekeeper and say, "Oh yeah, that's John from the sales department." Okay, so I tell you what, maybe it would be easiest if you just transfer me over to John, so I can leave a voicemail, and that way then they can call me back if they need help. So this is a ninja move if you're dealing with a gatekeeper to reduce all pressure. Gatekeepers are not used to hearing this. They're used to hearing, "Oh, can you just put me through?" Their number one job is to not put you through, right? Because the person has literally hired this person. The decision maker has, or the company has hired the gatekeeper to stop cold calls so that the executives can actually work on what they're supposed to be working on instead of dealing with cold calls all day. So, with this in mind, the voicemail ninja move is a way to overcome that in a way that's very low pressure for the gatekeeper and is a very effective way to get through to the decision maker. Now, of course, if the decision maker actually answers, you're going to have that conversation. You're going to go through your process and have the conversation. Worst case scenario, you do get through to their voicemail, in which case you leave a voicemail. So let's go through a more specific example. So SaaS, I mean, this is something that I started off my sales career in at Google. So I'm very familiar with this. Hey, is this Bob? Hey Bob, it's just Jack from Google. I was wondering if you could help me out for a moment. Again, neutral tonality, confused tonality, really leaning into their human nature of curiosity and wanting to help. Okay, great. Yeah, look, I'm not even sure if you're the right person I should be talking to, but I called to see who would be responsible in your company for looking at any possible hidden gaps in your CRM that could be causing your sales team to lose deals to competitors. Who should I even be talking to about it? Oh yeah, that's Jason from the sales team would be responsible for that. Okay, I'll tell you what, maybe it would just be easiest if you transfer me over to Jason so I can leave a voicemail. And that way, then, if it's something that he's interested in, he can just call me back if he needs some help with that. Okay, so again, through that full flow, we're using neutral tonality, any possible hidden gaps in your CRM that could be causing your sales team to lose deals to your competitors. So, consequence statement. We're then identifying the specific person, and we're then using the ninja voicemail move to get through to the specific person so we can continue on the sales conversation. All right, so the final example is, let's say you're a real estate investor or a business acquisition investor, and this one here really leans into any property owner or business owner's biggest nightmare. And that's really the case of the taxman. Nobody wants a call from the taxman. So in this case, if you really want to be ninja, you can actually go and print off the target list of prospects, property tax documents, or business tax documents, and have them in front of you as you're on that cold call. Because you can use them as a prop, you can actually rustle them so they can hear them on the phone, and it's going to make the whole conversation even more authentic and more powerful. So let's role play it. Hey Bob, it's just Jack from Consu. I'm holding a copy of your business tax records at Bob's Car Wash, and I was wondering if you could just help me out for a moment. Okay, so again, neutral tonality, very curiosity driven. You're leading with their biggest fear, so naturally they're going to lean in. And yeah, from there, then you continue the conversation. Yeah, well, I'm not even sure if it makes sense for us to talk, but I represent a group that is buying businesses around and mention the specific area that their business is in. And after reviewing your tax records, aka biggest nightmare, on your business, I was calling to see if you'd be opposed to having a brief conversation around that, as we might have something for you. Okay, so what are we doing here? We're being specific. In copywriting, the more specific you are, the more persuasive that it is. If you mention the specific area that their property or business is in, it's going to generate even more curiosity and engagement. And after reviewing your tax records, aka biggest nightmare, on your home/business, let's say it's business in this case, I was calling to see if you'd be opposed. Now, why do we say opposed here? We say opposed because it's easier to get them to say no on a cold call, because their human nature is to try and get rid of you ASAP, because it's a cold call. They want to say no. So by framing it as opposed, Chris Voss mentions this all the time, the former FBI negotiator or former hostage negotiator, I forget which one it was. See if you'd be opposed to having a brief conversation around that, as we might have something for you. Okay, so that's really it. It's, again, using all the principles in the previous examples, curiosity driven, lost tourist tonality. But just in this specific example, it's leveraging their biggest fear. Okay, so fear is an incredibly powerful motivator. Obviously, you want to use it ethically, and yeah. But that's really it for today's video. I know cold calling can be a thankless task, but I'm certain that if you make these few small tweaks that I've gone through today, you're going to see a lot more engagement. You're going to dread your cold calls a lot less. And ultimately, you're going to make more sales and make more money. And that's really the goal of these videos. So if you found this helpful, I would greatly appreciate if you drop a like, drop a comment. I'll be sure to reply to any comments you leave below. And if you're not subscribed already, make sure you do and hit the notification bell. I will see you in the next video.